This is disc number 7.
I came home around 7, and Nicole was gone. I hadn't heard from her all day, and I texted her about dinner, but she never responded. You know how she is about dinner. So I knew something weird was happening, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Sometimes she forgets to tell me things. It wasn't until 9 o'clock rolled around and I still hadn't heard from her that I started getting nervous. That's when I started blowing up her phone, but she didn't respond to any of my texts or voicemails. Her phone just went straight to voicemail. I even texted you to see if she was with you, remember? I nod. I saw those exchanges last night when I went through my phone again. I didn't think anything of it at the time because it wasn't unusual for him to text me looking for Nicole, since she was always letting her phone die. I moved into panic mode when she wasn't home by 11 and was debating whether or not I should call the police when she stumbled through the door around midnight. She was half crazed and covered in blood. Her hands, her face, her clothes, even her shoes. All she kept saying was that she didn't mean to do it. She was shaking and pacing all over the house, clawing at her skin like she wanted to rip it off. I kept asking her what she'd done, but she wouldn't answer me. Not at first. She just kept crying and crying. I suppose she was in shock too. Then she started screaming that we needed to go to the police and tell them what she'd done, that she'd killed Marie. She kept saying it was an accident, just like Alice. The enormity of his disclosure pummels me like I've been punched in the chest. I press both hands to the mattress because it feels like I'll fall off if I don't hold myself in place. Everything spins, then stills, goes fuzzy, then becomes laser-focused. You're saying Nicole killed Marie Davenport? That's exactly what I'm saying. My blood runs cold. Shut up! That's not true. No, just no! I leap from the bed, pacing the room back and forth, shaking my head over and over again. Just sit back down. He motions to the bed, but I won't sit. I can't sit. I need to move, run, get away from here, from him, from this, from the story coming out of his mouth. But he won't stop. She kept saying that she stabbed Marie, but she didn't mean to kill her, just punish her for ruining her life. Honestly, I don't know what happened in the moment between the two of them in the parking lot. But I do know that Nicole stabbed her. I whip around to face him. How do you know that for sure? She used our kitchen knife. It was still in her purse. Oh my God, oh my God. My mind races in 100 different directions. So that's why you have to help me. He grabs my arms, standing in front of me. His eyes have never been so serious. We have to protect her, Crystal. It's what I've been doing all along. What do you mean? I can't comprehend what he's saying. It won't fit in my head. She snapped when she found out I betrayed her, and who could blame her after what I'd done? His shoulders hang low with the weight of his shame. She didn't deserve to be punished from my crimes, so I got her calmed down enough to get into the bath, and I cleaned her up. The first thing I did was get rid of all the evidence. I took the knife and I raised both hands. Stop right there. Don't tell me any more about what you did to the evidence. I don't want to know. Is he telling the truth? What if this is just another one of his dirty tricks? A way to shift the blame away from him and onto Nicole? Right. He nods. I suppose the less you know about those details, the better. Anyway, I told her that I'd take care of everything, and that's when I decided that I had to protect her no matter what. How in the world did you protect her? She's been locked in a psych ward for over a week, and she's being charged with attempted murder and arson. Her brain might be permanently broken. That hardly seems like protecting her. Don't you see? That's exactly what I wanted to happen. It was all part of my plan. I made her crazy. Granted, I had no idea that she would get as sick as she did or turn against me. I didn't expect that. Definitely never imagined that she'd try to burn our house down with me in it. He lets out a bitter laugh. I never saw that one coming. I don't understand. You made her sick? You did this to her? He nods, looking pleased with himself. There's not an ounce of shame or regret on his face. I started giving her Benadryl that night and increased the dosage over the next couple of days. But she's allergic to Benadryl, I interrupt before quickly realizing that's exactly why he gave it to her. He was with us in Hawaii when she broke out in hives from something in the water. She'd never had any kind of allergic reaction before, so we gave her 2 Benadryls to calm the itching. It cleared up her hives, but it was like we'd given her a line of coke. She wouldn't stop talking in this high-pressured way, and all her movements were spastic. She kept saying it felt like bugs were crawling all over her body. He called her primary doctor back home, and he determined Nicole was having a rare allergic reaction to Benadryl. He told us to monitor her through the night and to take her to the clinic in the morning if she wasn't better. At her follow-up once she got home, her doctor warned her to refrain from any antihistamine use because it could trigger a similar allergic reaction and result in worse hallucinations and mania. Why would you do that? Horror rises up the lower part of my stomach and moves into my throat. Because, Crystal, it's like I told you. It was only a matter of time before the police made the connections between our lives, and I couldn't let her go to jail. I just couldn't. Not on account of me. It never would have happened if she hadn't found out about me. I had to help her, and there are very few ways to get away with murder once you've been caught, but the insanity defense is always a strong contender. I walk over to the window, dazed. My brain swings between adrenalized denial and overwhelming sadness. Edith sits on her front porch, scanning the neighborhood for any sign of trouble, but I don't need help anymore. Nicole does. All of the stuff I told you about her being terrified of me and locking herself in her room, I didn't make that up. It was true, all of it. But I swear, Crystal, I only did it to keep her out of prison. I just couldn't stand the thought of her being locked up after everything she's been through, and having to live with the fact that my stupid actions put her there. I slowly turn around. I still don't understand. Even if the police found out about your affair, it's not like they'd immediately jump to one of you murdering her, especially if there's no proof. He hurries over to me. But there is. That's the thing. What else is there? The car, he announces like I should have already known. There was as much blood in the car as there was on her. I did everything I could to clean it, but do you know how hard it is to clean up blood? Sadly, I do. And it only takes him a second to realize it, too. You have to help me figure out what to do about the car. I blink, confused. You used a gun to get me into your house so that you could talk me into... What? Getting rid of her car? He nods as if that should be clear and there's nothing wrong with what he's done. There is so much wrong with what he's done, I don't even know where to start. Not to mention that I'm not even sure I believe him about Nicole. Is he trying to cover up his tracks or hers? And just what exactly did you have in mind? And why can't he just do it himself? Why do I have to be involved? His logic doesn't add up. I thought maybe you could take it. You know, just get it out of here, he says, like it's that simple. Are you serious? And do what? I don't know. That's what we've got to figure out. We've got to make sure all our bases are covered, whatever we have to do to protect her. Protect her or protect you. He recoils like I've slapped him. Are you for real? I'm sorry if I'm having a hard time believing that my sister, who was racked with guilt for over 20 years about an accidental death, would turn around and murder her husband's mistress. I cock my head to the side. Doesn't really make sense, does it? Oh my God. You still think I killed her? He clenches his fists at his side. The only thing I have to go on is his word, and that doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I need to talk to the only person whose word I truly trust. Pain squeezes my chest as the realization hits me that it's no longer true. Nicole hid her most intimate parts from me. I was afraid you might say that. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. He points to the box sitting on the bed. Listen to me, Crystal, and listen to me carefully. If you don't help me and work with me on this, I'm taking this box and everything that's inside it to the police. What do you think the State Bar will think when they find out you've been covering up a murder since you were 17? Or that you left another girl practically dead on the side of the road? I quickly snatch the box from the bed and hug it close to me. He raises his eyebrows and sneers. You think I need what's in there to prove my case? I already made copies of the most important stuff, especially how you made Nicole keep everything quiet. I don't care if you tell the police. Go ahead. I'll take my chances. I can't stay in this room with him a minute longer. I move to leave, and he grabs my arm, spinning me around. Where are you going? He demands. Where do you think I'm going? I need to talk to Nicole. You can't tell her any of this. His fingers dig into me. It'll ruin everything. Get off me, I say, jerking my arm away. Give me my keys. Crystal, please, I'm sorry. Don't leave. We have to talk about this. He quickly rearranges his face to look soft and kind, putting on the right mask to get what he wants. I don't have anything left to say to you. Now give me my keys. Rage surges through me at everything he's done, all that's happened. I've had enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jeans and pulls them out, but he doesn't give them to me. We can't let her go to jail. Think about what that will do to her. Please, we have to protect her. You can't tell her anything. Not what I did, not what she did, none of it. Give me my keys, I say through gritted teeth, balancing the box on my hip. He reluctantly drops them into my hand and follows me out the bedroom door. Please, Crystal. Please. He sounds like a wounded puppy. He looks like one, too. I throw an angry glance over my shoulder at him. Maybe it's time we stopped interfering in Nicole's life and started letting her make decisions for herself.
34. Nicole. Then. My eyes burn as I watch the sun peek over the horizon. We've been driving all night. Neither of us has our license, but we've got lots of practice driving the truck. The inside of the cab smells like the farm. There's no air conditioning, so my legs stick to the seats. I'm scared to move or do anything in case I wake Alice. That's what it feels like. That she's sleeping, and at any minute she's going to wake up and start yelling at me again. She hasn't said a word since we left Veronica on the side of the road. Crystal won't let me drive. She insists on doing it herself. I think she's afraid Alice is going to come back too, but maybe she's going to be silent now that she finally got what she wanted. I'm not sure which scares me more. Alice, Mrs. Wheeler, or the police, since I'm pretty sure they're all searching for us by now. We're going to ditch the truck once we hit the Missouri state line. Crystal's eyes are glued on the road in front of us, but mine stay on the road behind us. I don't know what we'll do if we see police lights. Pull over and stop? Tell the truth? What happens then? We carried on like blubbering idiots for the first 20 minutes. I kept screaming at Crystal to turn around, but she refused. Turn around! We have to go back! I must have screamed 10 times until she finally whipped the truck over to the side of the road. She pointed at me from the driver's seat, and her voice was tight, like she was doing everything she could not to yell at me. We're not going back, Nicole, do you hear me? Not ever! What if she dies, Crystal? My body trembled with my voice. What if she dies and I killed her? I don't want to be like Veronica. She put the truck in park and flung open the door before hurrying over to my side of the cab and flinging my door open. She gripped my shoulders. Listen to me. You are not anything like Veronica. You are a kind and wonderful person who cares about everyone, even people that are awful and mean to you. Veronica jumped in the truck on her own. You didn't make her get in, and you definitely didn't mean for her to get hurt. If there was any way to make it right, to make any of this right, we would, but there's not. There's just not, no matter how much you want there to be. But what if Alice comes back? What if she never leaves me alone? Pain leaks out of me like a bad smell. Your brain broke, Nicole. You bent your brain until it snapped, just for a second. But that's all it was. It wasn't permanent. Your brain is going to heal itself just like your ankle did in 6th grade. Do you hear me? I couldn't speak around the lump of emotions in my throat. We're leaving Mrs. Wheeler and that disgusting farm behind us, along with Veronica and all her twisted games. Any part of it is done. Over. She shook me twice. Whatever happened to you never has to happen again. Do you hear me, Nicole? Tears spilled down my cheeks. I nodded through my tears. I wanted it to be over. I'm going to get back into the truck, and then we're going to drive until we can't drive anymore. We're going to find a new place and a new home, and it's going to be just ours. Just ours and nobody else's. You and me, like we always planned. Doesn't that sound good? I fell into her chest, and she wrapped her arms around me as the pain came in waves. I could have stayed in her arms forever, but we had to get back on the road before someone caught up with us. I want to believe in her promises of a new beginning so badly, but I'm not sure I deserve it. Is it possible after everything that's happened? All I've done? I'm terrified Alice will follow me everywhere like a hungry wolf circling its prey. Any other animal would have been put out of its misery, but not me. I've got to walk around like a wounded dog, and I'm scared I won't be able to do it. I smooth the bedspread a final time and glance around the hotel room, double-checking I didn't miss anything. The room looks tidy and clean, despite the cigarette stains on the carpet and the water spots on the ceiling. But I can't do anything about that. The door locks behind me as I grab my housekeeping cart and move to the next room. It's been exactly 30 days since we ran away from Mrs. Wheeler's farm. I know because I keep track of every single one. We spent the first week on the road driving south. We didn't have a map. No directions, just south. We kept going south. Once we ditched the truck, we hopped a Greyhound bus until the rolling cornfields gave way to the green country of Illinois, littered with small towns with cute names. I didn't stop feeling like we were being chased until we made it through Tennessee. We rode as far south as we could go until we reached Gulfport, Mississippi, and saw the ocean for the first time. But it's not the good ocean. The bottom is filled with sludge and oil, but we didn't know that, and even if we had, it probably wouldn't have stopped us from jumping in. I've never been to Las Vegas, but everyone calls this place a miniature Vegas because of all the casinos lining the coast and jutting out into the ocean. There's a sex shop between every casino, and they stay just as busy. All the casinos are attached to hotels, so it was easy to get a housekeeping job. Nobody even asked for our ID. Every week, Crystal goes to the library to see if there are any reports on us or Veronica. We have the internet at work, but she says it's anonymous at the library because nothing she looks up can be traced. I could barely breathe the first time she looked for an obituary on Veronica, and I've never been more relieved in my life for a search to turn up empty. Crystal keeps checking the local newspapers and media outlets just to make sure she doesn't miss an announcement about her, but there's never any mention of her or an accident. I can't help but wonder how long she lay there on the side of the road before someone found her. Sometimes I worry nobody ever found her, but Crystal assures me if that was the case, it'd be all over the papers and the news, because Mrs. Wheeler would have done everything to find her. She's probably right. There's never any mention of us, either. We disappeared and no one even noticed or cared. It's like we never existed, but I guess that's what happens when you're nobody's children. Crystal says she's going down to the courthouse after we turn 18 and making sure our juvenile records are sealed. She wants to go to law school, and she needs to make sure there's nothing on our record. She's determined to make a new start. Our apartment is run down and dingy, but we didn't have many options, and I'm just grateful for any place to stay. There aren't too many people who will rent to two 17-year-old girls without an ID, even though we told them we were 18. We had to practically beg to get into this one, and if the landlord wasn't so desperate for money, we wouldn't be living here. Our fake IDs should arrive by the end of the week, and were easier to get than we'd imagined. We even got to use our own pictures, even though neither of us looks like ourselves anymore. I still can't believe Crystal cut her hair. She's blonde now, and I finally got rid of my red hair, but I look funny with black. Someday when we know we're safe and far enough away from any chance of our past catching up with us, we'll go back to how we used to look. We've been pillaging Goodwill and other people's throwaways. Crystal used to go dumpster diving with her mom back when she lived with her, and it didn't take long for me to follow in her footsteps. It grossed me out at first because of other people's icky germs being all over the stuff, but it hasn't been that bad. We've actually found some decent stuff. Our apartment is filled with plastic chairs, and neither of us has a bed, but it's ours, and we're safe. The first thing we did when we got our first paychecks was to buy multiple locks for the door. We have 2 deadbolts and an upper sliding chain lock. It's a weird feeling, being safe in my own house. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Nobody can touch it. And nobody can touch us. Our jobs as housekeepers are at the Pacific Edge Motel. We spend our days cleaning people's rooms, and we waitress at night in the casino restaurant. By the time we get home, we are so exhausted that we just crash, only to get up and do it all over again. We used up all the money we'd saved over the years on the deposit and first month's rent of our apartment, but we're determined to build up our nest egg again. I'm just trying to get through each day. The days are easier. Nights are more difficult because that's when Alice finds her way to me in my dreams. I wake up every morning with the blankets twisted in knots and my shirt soaked in sweat. There's so much space in my head without all the chatter, and sometimes the emptiness scares me. I'm constantly straining my ears for her voice. I'm scared to get my hopes up that she might be gone for good, and in the next instant, overwhelmed with guilt because of everything that happened. Crystal says it'll get easier and easier as the days go on. I hope she's right. She usually is. I just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other until I've walked far enough away from all the evil. I keep telling myself that brains are like bones, and they can be fixed. Sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night from my nightmares, I write Alice letters. Crystal would be horrified if she found out, so I hide them in a box at the back of the closet. She wants to put it all behind us and pretend like it never happened, but I can't. I've tried. Even though we didn't push her out the door, her blood is still on my hands, and no matter how hard I scrub, it'll never come off. But I'll keep moving forward. That's what I do, and maybe someday I'll be as strong as Crystal. So I won't see her face every night before I fall asleep, or have my stomach turn to mush at the smell of cheap gin. I know Crystal thinks I went crazy, and maybe I did. But I'm pretty sure a part of me will always be haunted by Alice's ghost.
35. Crystal. I stare at the private Facebook profile of Marie Davenport on my computer screen, racking my brain for where to search next. My first instinct when I left Aiden's was to go to the hospital and talk to Nicole, but halfway there I turned around and came home. I'm convinced one of them killed Marie Davenport. I just don't know which one. Aiden's story doesn't add up. There's no way someone like Nicole just snapped and killed her husband's mistress in cold-blooded revenge, like Aiden's trying to get me to believe. I've seen her lose her mind before, and it wasn't like that. Nicole didn't snap into madness. She slid. If what Aiden says about making her sick is true, then she was mentally fit at the time of the murder, which makes no logical sense and brings me back to square one, which is why I'm so obsessed with Marie Davenport. Somehow I just know that she's the one holding the key to all this. So far, I haven't found much information about her online. Not even an obituary. I find that a little odd. It's not a legal requirement to file an obituary, but I don't know any family that doesn't. What kind of a family wouldn't do that? A very disturbed one. And then it hits me. Maybe Marie Davenport wasn't her real name. What if she changed it in the same way Nicole and I did when we were 19, so we'd have the same last names and there wasn't any chance our past could follow us into our future? I immediately log on to the Department of Records and Vital Statistics. I type in my password as fast as I can and wait for the site to load. It's always so slow. I use the database all the time when I'm trying to track people down in divorce proceedings, especially when I'm searching for deadbeat dads behind on child support. Changing your name is one of the oldest tricks in the book, and I can't believe I'm just now thinking of it. My heart speeds up with anticipation like it does every time I'm on the right path. A search of the entire state of Texas reveals nothing. There's no marriage certificate or name change that includes a Marie Davenport within her age range. But I'm not deterred. It would have been too easy to just get it on the first try. I spend the next hour digging into other states and plowing through the results, still finding nothing. I work my way through the middle of the country, heading toward the Midwest, and that's when my stomach starts twisting in knots and heat rises in my chest. A sense of impending doom settles over me. My hands are clammy as I type Iowa into the search bar. I slowly scroll through the results on the first page. Nothing. I click on the second page. Her name is at the top. Marie Davenport. February 12th, 2009. Marie Wheeler, former. My pulse throbs in my temples as I pull up the full report, revealing a marriage between Luke Davenport and Marie Wheeler on January 23rd, 2009. The next result knocks every wisp of air from my lungs. Marie Wheeler, August 4th, 2002. Veronica Wheeler, former. I shove my chair back from the table. My emotions won't translate into language. All I can do is stare at the screen. The blinking cursor. The missing link. The doubt in my mind over who killed Marie Davenport vanishes instantly. But there's no way Nicole did this on her own or unprovoked. Alice has to be back. What if she's never been gone? I've never forgotten how she snaked her way into every crevice of Nicole's brain until it splintered, or how she used Nicole's love of me to get Nicole to do what she wanted. I've lived with the fear of her coming back. I didn't let it control me or hinder me, but it's always been there in the far corner of my mind. Was she there in the recesses of Nicole's mind in the same way that she was in mine? Just waiting for the proper cues to be called back to life? Nicole never saw herself as mentally ill. Alice was as real to her as I was, and the only thing Alice ever wanted was for Veronica to be punished for her sins. Nicole said Alice left her alone after she hit Veronica with the truck, and I believed her. But what if she never did? She clearly still dreamed about her and wrote her letters. Did she hear her voice, too? I'd thought she was cured, but was that only because of how much I wanted her to be? I just kept telling her that if she acted normal, eventually she'd feel normal again, that her brain needed to rest, and once it had, she'd be better. I was convinced that enough time away from the farm would make her better, and that my love and support would be enough to hold her up until she could stand on her own 2 feet again. Guilt pummels me in waves for failing her. There's no way Aiden knows about the connection, or he would have said something to me about it earlier. He probably would have used it as another way to bribe me into doing what he wanted. How did Veronica find him? Was it a coincidence, or has she been looking for us all these years? I never gave her existence a second thought after I felt confident that she'd survived the accident. I buried her memory in my consciousness, like they buried Mrs. Wheeler's stillborn babies in the backyard. What did Nicole find out first? Was it the affair or Marie's identity? And why didn't she tell me? It feels like such a huge betrayal. Pain seeps into my chest. I'm walking on the edge of an abyss with nothing to hold on to. My emotions are still numb from disbelief. I slowly rise from the table and eye the box of letters sitting next to my computer. I have so many questions fighting for space in my head, but no answers. There's only one person who has them. I grab the box from the table, tuck it underneath my arm, and head out the door to find Nicole. Nicole and I huddle alone in one of the small therapy rooms on the unit, even though she's still not off one-to-one supervision. But I wasn't having this conversation with anyone else present. Not Dr. McGowan, not Eric, and definitely not Detective Sparks. This is between me and her. Eric's partner is keeping guard outside the door. I called him, and he got permission for me to speak to Nicole without an aide or anyone else present. Somehow he arranged it with Dr. McGowan, probably because Dr. McGowan knows we're dealing with something much bigger than Nicole's mental illness. But they have no idea what we're really facing. They're still hot on Aiden's trail. Ever since Nicole walked into the room, I can't stop staring at her hands and trying to picture them plunging a knife into Veronica's stomach. Not just once, but twice. That's the part that's the most disturbing. After she'd done it once, she pulled it out and did it again. There's no way she could do that without Alice controlling her. What did she threaten her with this time? Was it me? One of her kids at school? Nicole would do anything if it meant keeping one of her kids unharmed. She eyes the room nervously. What's going on? I keep my expression neutral as I pull out the box from underneath the table and slide it in front of her. Her mouth drops open in shock and surprise. What is... She looks at me with stunned amazement. I got it from Aiden. Aiden? She asks like it doesn't compute. I nod. He knows? I nod again. I wait for a response. Seconds pass that feel like minutes before she speaks again. I'm sorry, Crystal, she says with her lower lip quivering. I tried to get over it, I really did. I tried so hard, but I'm not like you. She shifts her eyes to the box on the table and brings her hands together on her lap. Those hands. The ones capable of doing things I never imagined, even though I'd seen them put a pillow over someone's face. I just couldn't go on with my life like it never happened. I had to find a way to get it out. I never sent any of the letters, I promise. Why didn't you tell me? It's hard to get the question out around the waves of conflicting emotions ricocheting through me. It's been that way since I left my house. I jump from horror to fear to guilt, then spiral into sadness and grief before flipping back to horror. She yanks her head up. Tell you? How many times did I try talking to you about it? How many? And you know what you always said? Her eyes are lit with a challenge. I expected a lot of emotional reactions from her when I showed her the box, but anger wasn't one of them. You have to let it go, Nicole. We have to move forward. You can't move forward if you're always looking behind you. She mimics my voice almost perfectly. Not in a mocking way, but in a way that allows me to see myself from her perspective, like I never have before. And I plummet into shame. I don't know how you do it. I think about Alice every day. Every single day. I had no idea you felt this way, I say softly, doing my best not to cry. We're not any better than Mrs. Wheeler and Veronica. We never have been. We might as well have pushed Alice out of the barn ourselves. Who's more guilty, Crystal? The one who hurts someone, or the one who watches someone get hurt and does nothing? We're no different from them. Don't you see that? Her eyes fill with righteous indignation. We were kids, Nicole. What were we supposed to do? I fire back. The right thing. Her face crumples and her voice fills with so much pain I could reach out and touch it, hold it in my hand. She sinks back in her chair. We did the best we could given the circumstances, I say in our defense. You were a mess, an absolute mess, and we lived with monsters. Did you forget that? She shakes her head. She's not willing to let herself off the hook. We should have done more. We did everything we could. It was an awful situation, I say, and not because I'm trying to make her feel better, but because it's the truth. She acts like we had so many different options to choose from, but none of our choices were good or ones we would have chosen for ourselves. But we had to pick one. That's easy for you to say because you got to make all the decisions. You decided everything. I never got a say. Never. She peers at me through wounded eyes filled with the pain of decades-old wounds. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Remorse burns my cheeks. She pulls her knees up to her chest and wraps her arms around them. Her unblinking stare fixes on the box in front of her. Dread rises in my chest at what I have to do next, but there's no turning back. When Aiden gave me the box, he told me everything about Marie Davenport. I announce, and then wait. There's no sign of recognition. Her expression doesn't change. Her posture stays the same. Marie Davenport? Her face is blank. He was having an affair with her. She recoils in disbelief. Aiden was having an affair? He was. I study her carefully. Did she really not know? I hate having to be the one to do this to her, but I hate the seed of doubt planted in my mind about everything she says even more. I take both her hands in mine. I'm so sorry. I give her a minute for my words to register, but she still sits unmoving, flat and emotionless like she's in shock. But that's not the most important part. There's more? She asks in a tiny voice, like she's afraid to know the answer. Marie Davenport was killed. They found her body in the Walmart parking lot. It was all over the news. Do you remember anything about it? You mean like seeing it on the news? Her eyes are innocent and wide. But those eyes lie to me. They always have whenever it came to Alice. She wanted Nicole all to herself. Yes, on the news, but more than that. Do you remember anything about her? Knowing her? Meeting her? She shakes her head, wrinkling her forehead in confusion. I pause and take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. This is the hardest part. Aiden says you were the one who killed her. She snaps back in her chair like she's been smacked. Her entire body goes rigid. She blinks rapidly like she's trying to digest what I've said but can't get there. She covers her mouth with her hands. I don't understand. What are you talking about? You came home the night she died, covered in blood and babbling incoherently. I repeat Aiden's version of the events, wondering if that's how it really happened or if there's more to the story. All the color drains from her face. No, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. No. Her features curl in revulsion. Because Marie Davenport was really Veronica Wheeler. She leaps from her chair. What are you talking about? What did you say? I said that Marie Davenport was really Veronica Wheeler. She races to the other side of the room and plasters herself against the wall. Her eyes blaze with panic and dart around the room. Get away from me! She points a shaking finger at me. The veins bulge in her neck. They got you too. Oh my God! They've got you too! She runs to the door and beats on it with her fists. Please help! Let me out of this room! I rush to her, grabbing her and pulling her back just as Eric's partner whips open the door. I hold Nicole's shaking body against me as she struggles to get free. We're fine. She's just upset, I say, trying to push the door shut. His eyes fill with bewilderment and disbelief. We're fine. Really, we're okay. I motion for him to go away, and I smash the door in his face before he has a chance to say or do anything else. Nicole breaks loose and runs to the other side of the room, then backs up against the brick wall. Her eyes roam the small space, searching for a place to hide. I stand with my back against the door, holding it shut in case anyone tries to get inside. I have to calm her down before security hears her throwing a fit and comes to restrain her. Nicole, listen to me. Just listen to me, I say breathlessly, keeping my voice even and as non-threatening as possible. It's me, Crystal, your sister. It's really me, and I would never lie to you or do anything to hurt you. I point to her chair at the table. Please just sit down and we can talk about this, okay? She shakes her head like she's trying to clear it. No! She brings her hands to her ears. I hold my hands up in a peaceful gesture and start singing the song we sang together when we were little girls, and one of us was scared or couldn't fall asleep at night. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. I pause, waiting for her to sing her part or tell me I'm still completely tone deaf. She doesn't sing, but she slowly drops her hands from her ears. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Come on, Nikki. You can do it. You know what comes next. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird, she stammers. Good. I smile. And if that mockingbird don't sing, she lets out a shaky breath. Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. We sing another round, and some of the tension leaves her body. I take a cautious step toward her. It's just you and me. Nobody else. There's nothing to be scared of. Can we just sit down? I take a seat first, and she takes a minute to consider it before following me to the table. She starts rocking slowly in her chair. Aiden was having an affair? I nod. With Veronica? She asks, like she doesn't want it to be true. He was, I admit, even though I don't want it to be true any more than she does. The horror of the realization fills her face and moves its way into her body like a disease. She lets out a small whimper before putting her face into her hands and breaking down in heaving sobs. Her cries are guttural, like an animal being tortured. I instinctively move to comfort her because that's my job. I take care of her no matter what. But she shoves my arm away. Leave me alone! She's crying so hard she can barely talk. She's always been my center of gravity, the force that keeps me on this earth, and her rejection hurts me to my core. I feel the separation in my bones. She shakes with sobs, hunched over on her chair, arms crossed on her stomach. I sit on my hands to keep from reaching out to her. Her pain bleeds my insides. Minutes pass before she can speak. She lifts her head to look at me, her nose runny, eyes raw and red. Are you sure? Yes. Aiden and the police told me about the affair. He doesn't know who Marie really was, though. I only found out this afternoon. I speak slowly and purposefully. Marie is Veronica's middle name. She changed her name to that first. I'm not sure why. Maybe to start fresh in college? Anyway, Davenport was her married name, and she never switched back after her divorce. And I killed her? Her voice is barely above a whisper. Aiden says that you came home that night covered in blood and confessed. You had a bloody knife in your purse, and there was blood all over your car. That's not possible. I couldn't, she says. But she knows that she almost did 20 years ago and would have finished the job if I hadn't stopped her. Her fingernails scrape at the scarred welts on her forearms that match the ones healing on her face. I instinctively grab her arms and pull them away from her, setting them on her lap and placing mine on top of hers. There's more. I want to stop, but I have to keep going. She deserves the full story. Aiden helped cover it up. He got rid of the knife and tried to clean up the car as best he could. He says he gave you Benadryl to make you lose touch with reality and mess up your brain. There's a long pause as she mulls it over. I don't understand. Her voice is a whimper. Tears flow unchecked down both cheeks. I recite his reasoning nearly verbatim to when he gave it to me. He knew the investigation into Marie's death would eventually lead to him and then to you, so he wanted to keep you sick. If you were sick, then you couldn't be held accountable for your actions. He never expected you to turn against him, but you did. That's why you tried to burn your house down. She brings both hands to her face. But I don't remember. Wouldn't I remember something like that? You don't remember anything? She shakes her head. He asked me to take the car off his hands and get rid of it. It's the only other piece of evidence linking you to her murder. She shoves the table so hard it slams against the wall, and she jumps up, knocking over her chair. No, not again. No more lies, Crystal. No more lies. She moans like she's in pain as her eyes roam the room, but there's nowhere to run, no place to hide. I don't care if I go to jail or prison, not this time. I can't lie. Not again. Please. A wave of knowing floods over me, and I get up before stepping cautiously toward her. Then, you don't have to. She stops in her tracks. I can tell the truth? I'm not keeping her out of prison by protecting her. I never was. And neither is Aiden if what he says is the truth. She's lived behind bars for decades and will never live in peace until she gets the punishment she thinks she deserves for her crimes. She's been waiting for it for over 20 years. You can do whatever you think is best, I say, conceding defeat. I've always thought I knew what was best for her. Every decision that I made from that vantage point, like a mother to her child. Because that's what you do when you don't have any real parents. You take care of each other. I just want it to be over, Crystal. Her voice cracks with emotion. Her body trembles. Then, let's let it be over. I walk back to the table and take a seat in the chair. I turn her chair upright and bring it next to mine. She slowly walks over to the table and sits down. She hugs herself next to me. Every part of my being wants to reach out and hold her, pull her close to me. But taking care of her almost killed her. And I want her to live. What are we going to do? She asks. The only thing we can do. The thing you've been wanting to do for 20 years. We tell the truth and let the police work things out. They always say the truth will set you free, but maybe it has to destroy you first. I take my phone out of my pocket and pull up Detective Sparks' number. I set it on the table and put it on speaker while it connects. Nicole and I stare at each other as we wait for him to pick up, knowing that we are about to cross over an invisible line that, once we get over, we never get to come back. Hello? His familiar voice answers. Hi, Detective Sparks. It's Crystal Benson. I clear my throat. I'm here with Nicole, and we have something to tell you.
36. Nicole. 3 weeks ago. Those aren't my hands on the wheel. They can't be. They're attached to my body, but a force outside me has taken them over. Sweat pours from my armpits, drips between my legs, making my thighs stick to the leather seat. Sunlight floods through the windshield and lands on my wedding ring. The diamonds wink at me mockingly. They know my marriage is a sham. A cruel trick played on me. But that's what I get for thinking I could get a fresh start. Hysterical laughter bubbles up my throat and fills the empty car. It morphs into a choked sob. What am I going to do? I press the gas pedal to the floor and fly over the speed limit. I haven't been home since yesterday. All I've done since I spotted them kissing outside the restaurant is follow them around like a creepy stalker. I told myself to go home, to get in my car and go back to Belmont, but I couldn't. I had to know who she was. What she had that I didn't. I was afraid they'd spot me in the restaurant, even though I sat in the far corner with my hair pulled back in a scarf and my sunglasses on. But Aiden didn't notice anything going on around him. Not the server, not the food, definitely not me. He was oblivious and never took his eyes off her. He ran them up and down her body like she was his dessert as soon as they finished their lunch. And she was. I followed them to the elevator and watched as he nibbled on her ear and she nuzzled his neck. That's when I should have left. I'd seen more than enough. Instead, I found a seat in the hotel bar and waited to see if they'd make another appearance. The hours passed in a blur. Around 7, Aiden snuck into the bar alone, and I almost rushed over to him. It had to be a mistake. Maybe I hadn't seen what I'd thought I'd seen between them. Maybe I'd exaggerated it. Aiden would never do something so horrible to me. He loved me. I was his angel. That's what he said when he asked me to marry him. But then, my phone rang with his call. I didn't want to answer, but I picked it up anyway. I watched from across the room as he lied to me, going on and on about how busy he was at the conference, that he had only been able to step out for a minute to call me. My heart shattered into pieces when he ended the call by saying he loved me and was counting the minutes until he could be home with me. He lied too well for it to be his first time. A steady scream rolled through my head. Shame and embarrassment burned my cheeks. My brain sputtered, and every part of me went on pause. 1 minute I was sitting in the hotel bar, and the next minute I was lying in my queen-size bed on the floor below them, all checked in for the night. But I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. There was no light, no sound, no air. Nothing felt real in the morning as I took the elevator down to the lobby. It was like I was sleepwalking underwater. I watched myself as I ordered coffee from the barista at the Starbucks counter and wondered how I was speaking to her so clearly. There was a roaring in my ears. My soul was empty, like a pumpkin whose insides had been scraped out and discarded. I rounded the corner and came face to face with her. Her. I stopped, dead in my tracks. She smiled, like she'd been expecting me. "Hi, Nicole," she said, in a voice that I would recognize anywhere, even though it didn't match her face. A chill ran through me. I took a step back, and another. "I know. Shocking, right?" She made a circular motion around her face. "Amazing what a nose job and a little bit of collagen can do for a girl, huh?" My lungs stopped taking in air. I couldn't breathe. "Somebody help me!" "I was wondering how long it would take you to figure it out. I mean, I've only been sleeping with your husband for 3 years. Her familiar smirk lit with smug satisfaction. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. She came closer. I moved back until I was up against the wall. I ran my hands along the wall, searching for an invisible door as if she'd locked me in the barn again and I had to find my way out. Funny, my company managed the security systems for Aiden's company for years before I found out he was married to you. But I knew you were his wife the minute I saw your picture in one of the company newsletters." She tilted her head to the side and cocked one hand on her hip. "Remember when you cut the ribbon on the Edison building? Great dress you wore that day, by the way. The red went great with your hair. Anyway, that's when I knew I had to find a way to meet him. Make him mine." Her beady eyes were still the same up close, even though they'd changed color. She moved them up and down my body. "They must do some serious photoshopping, because you're way more frumpy than in the pictures." All these years, I'd waited for Alice to return, but she was the one to come back. This couldn't be happening. Veronica? My voice squeaked out in disbelief, barely audible. You did this? She nodded, pride written all over her now beautiful face. It's usually not easy to meet the big boss, but everyone knows how much he likes a short skirt and high heels. She noticed the tears leaking out of the corners of my eyes and gave a little laugh. Oh, but not you, huh? I'm sorry to burst the bubble in your perfect little world, but yes, your husband is a cheater. All it took was a few emails and a couple sexy pictures. I recoiled in horror. How could you? How could I? She said, pointing to her chest. You left me on the side of the road like a dead deer you hit with your car. How could I? She gave another laugh. Do you know what I went through after the two of you left? Do you have any idea? She took another step closer. She was so close, it made my skin crawl. After all that, how couldn't I? Do you want to know what he says about you? Get away from me, I growled. He says having sex with you is like having sex with a dead fish. That you have no idea how to please him. He's only with you because he feels sorry for you. I dropped my coffee and shoved her as hard as I could. And then I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. I don't remember leaving the hotel or the first 10 miles of my drive. But here I am. The broken pieces of me are shards of glass, stabbing my insides. I choke on my tears, coughing and spitting as I grip the wheel. It's a good thing I'm almost home because I can barely drive. Within seconds, I pull into the garage and park next to Aiden's Mercedes-Benz. I want to take a hammer to it, knock out every window, crush all the doors. The vanity license plate reads, "My love." I had it made on our 10th anniversary when I bought him the car. It hurts too much to look at it. I hurry out of the car and into the house. Grief pummels me when I open the door to the home we created, the one we were supposed to grow old in. Sobs rack my body and I collapse on the mudroom floor, unable to go any farther. I don't want to go inside. I can't see the golden-framed pictures of our wedding day hanging over the fireplace in the living room and lining the hallway going up the stairs. The flowers sitting on the dining room table that he sent me yesterday before he went away, just like he does every time he goes. Or the books lying on our matching nightstands in the bedroom that we read out loud to each other before we fall asleep. The bed that we sleep in together, with me tucked underneath his arm like a baby bird. None of this would be happening if it wasn't for Veronica. Every single bad thing that's happened to me can be traced back to her. She's a demon in disguise and destroys every person's life she touches. Anger boils inside me, working its way into a red-hot rage. I let it fuel me, swallow me up and consume me. It feels so much better than desolation. The rage multiplies itself until it's all there is and I see nothing else. I rise from my heap on the floor. Rage propels me into the kitchen, but instant calm settles over me as I grab the biggest knife from the chopping block on the counter. I know what I have to do.
We hope you have enjoyed our presentation of The Secrets of Us by Lucinda Berry, performed by Kate Rudd and Lauren Ezzo. Performance copyright 2021 by Brilliance Publishing, Inc., all rights reserved. For further information concerning this program or other Brilliance audio titles, please visit our website at www.brilliancepublishing.com. No part of this recording may be played for an audience or reproduced in any form. It may not be streamed, downloaded, broadcast, or copied without written permission. Address all inquiries to Brilliance Audio, P.O. Box 887, Grand Haven, Michigan, 49417.